Hello YouTube world, and welcome to another Travel with T-Bone video. We're going to talk about a question that came up recently, which is, can you make some of them dollar bills, money, as an expat abroad? Now, the reason why I'm having this conversation is because I was sitting and having coffee and lunch with a friend of mine. His name is John. He runs an import and export business here in China, and he was saying that there is no money to be made in the teaching business, and to move into imports and exports to make more money, which, yeah, I can probably agree that you can make more money as someone who's doing imports and exports in China. Granted, he's lived here for 16 years, he speaks fluent Chinese, and it's not something that everybody really has as a skill set. He's in a very unique position. So most people watching this are probably not going to be fluent in Chinese, and so it begs the question, can you actually make money as an expat abroad without any Chinese? And I think a lot of people get scared because the answer I think is yes. Because I think a lot of people get scared because when they take a quick cursory glance at the salaries of living in China or living abroad, they see like $2,000 or $3,000 and they think, wow, that's not a lot of money. Maybe people get scared from leaving their friends, leaving their family, loved ones, whatever else behind when they could maybe go with them. Or some people are just not qualified enough to do the job, as in they might not have a college degree. And to all of these, it kind of matters to a certain extent. So here's where I'm going to get into it with my experiences. First off, when you choose to go abroad, not every country is the same. So not every country is going to have a lot of money. Now, my first country I lived in abroad was Japan. Now, Japan, it makes more money than what you would see in China or Korea, in most cases, on paper, right? But then you have to consider something that a lot of people overlook, is the cost of living. So sure, you have a higher looking salary, but when the cost of rent is about $600 for a very small room in Tokyo, plus bills, plus expensive transportation, it starts to add up really, really quickly, and the money that you're making disappears, and you actually don't have a lot to save or spend locally within the country. And I think the big point to consider when choosing a country to live abroad in is, what is the current economic status of this? Now, Japan, if you look in the 1980s, it was a bubble economy. You can look at graphs and you can see it was just massive, through the roof. And then the economy crashed and came back down, and it's been in a recession ever since the 90s, when in actual reality it's just kind of evened out to where its actual value is based on population and output and yada yada yada. So if you want to make some money, you can't, it's kind of a beggars can't be choosers sort of situation, where if you want to make the money, you're going to have to choose a country that's actually doing well right now economically. Now, if you take this and apply it to China, everybody is talking about. China is considered the world's factory, which is very true. There's a lot of manufacturing, a lot of imports, and a lot of exports going on within this country. So China right now is growing at a very fast rate. In previous years, the percentage of growth, according to government statistics, was in the double digits figure, sometimes 10%, sometimes 15%, and now that's slowing down to, according to the government, once again, about 6.8%. Now, China right now is a good place to be as an expat because the cost of living is incredibly low, but the salaries are about what you'd have, maybe a little lower than Japan or Korea. But since the cost is so low and the economy is booming right now, you have a lot of chances to save money, and a lot of people locally are spending money on English goods. So when I say English goods, that might be English classes, trips to go abroad, English camps, whatever it may be. So as a person working here, it's a very easy opportunity to come in and make some money because it's in high demand and there's a lot of extra cash going around. Now this, in my opinion, because a lot of business seems to be shifting elsewhere outside of China, maybe to India, Vietnam, etc., different places for manufacturing. These countries, after the boom of China will come to an end, would be the next place to go as an expat if you want to continuously make money. You could see this in the 2000s. If you look at the 2000s as what was the major place for a lot of money coming out, and that was the Middle East. The Middle East had extremely high salaries. They have higher salaries, but they're not as high as they once was, and that's because the cost of oil and other factors that led to the price of petroleum being very high has come down, so the economy and the ESL industry has been affected along with it. Now, as of 2018, August 2nd, I would say China is the place to be as an expat who wants to make money. Because sure, you're making, what, $2,000, $3,000 a month. But when your apartment is close to $20 a month, that's about what I'm paying, maybe $30? Yeah, $28 a month. Your phone bill's about the same, like $10 a month. Food is like $3 or $4 for a meal. You can be expensive and eat out. This isn't a tier 3 city. You have a lot of extra money to save. And then if you find people that give private lessons, generally, since English hasn't reached most of the country, they have most of the wealth. That means they will pay very high prices for you to give private lessons to these people. Even a high salary compared to somewhere in the US, somewhere maybe around 30, 40, even 50. I've heard some people making close to $100 an hour just doing private lessons for 1 hour of work. And they use that money to live off of for the entire week. Now, I've been in this boat, I've done this before, and I think it's a great way to actually save money. And for me, it's a way and my strategy for paying for grad school, because I can do the math and I can look at my expenditures and realize I have more than enough to save, so I can be finished with graduate school, doing it online, of course, at Arizona State, and be in a position where I don't have a massive amount of debt afterwards. So that's something to consider if you're looking at going abroad. Do some research, maybe even talk to me, leave some comments below. Whether you liked the video or not, you can ask me some questions, and I'll do my very, very best to answer them, so that way you can have and make a well-informed and good decision that is best for you, so you could live happily abroad. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching the Travel with T-Bone show, and bye.